The moment Hannah stepped into the coffee shop, she felt the weight of her coat more than the winter pressing against the windows. It wasn't just old. It was tired, frayed at the cuffs, patched at the elbow with thread that didn't quite match. She tugged it closer around her body, already bracing for the look she feared most, the quiet judgment that said someone like her wasn't meant to be seen, let alone chosen. And somewhere deep inside, a question rose uninvited and sharp enough to hurt. What if this were you, standing here, hoping not to be abandoned over something you could never afford to replace? Hannah had learned long ago how to disappear without leaving a room. Growing up in a small Ohio town where winters were harsh and kindness was conditional, she understood how quickly people decided your worth based on what you wore, where you worked, or how much space you took up in their lives. After her mother's illness drained what little savings they had, and her father vanished under the weight of his own failures, Hannah learned to survive quietly. College dreams faded into double shifts at a grocery store, and later into long nights cleaning offices after everyone else had gone home. By the time she moved to Chicago for a fresh start, she carried more exhaustion than hope, and the coat she wore had followed her through every chapter of loss. Michael noticed her before she noticed him. He was the kind of man who looked settled, not flashy, but secure in a way that came from having options. He had grown up with stability, with Sunday dinners and parents who stayed, and though life had bruised him in its own ways, it had never broken him financially. When they met through mutual friends at a church volunteer event, Hannah assumed their connection would be brief, another passing kindness that would fade once reality set in. She laughed carefully, shared only fragments of herself, and always made sure to leave before anyone could look too closely. As weeks passed, their meetings became something she both cherished and dreaded. Walks along Lake Michigan, shared coffee on cold mornings, quiet moments sitting side by side in borrowed peace. Each time, Hannah waited for the moment when her life would feel too small for his. She imagined him noticing the seams on her coat, the way she flinched when bills were mentioned, the careful calculations behind every choice she made. If you were in her place, wouldn't you do the same, protecting yourself by expecting the worst before it arrived? The day everything shifted was bitterly cold, the kind of Illinois winter that gnaws at your bones. They stood near the window of the cafe, snow drifting past like slow confessions. Hannah caught Michael's eyes drop not to her face but to the sleeve of her coat where the patch had begun to peel. Her chest tightened. This was it, she thought, the silent ending she had rehearsed 100 times. She felt herself shrink, already mourning something that hadn't been taken yet. What she didn't expect was the gentleness that followed. Michael's expression didn't harden or pull away. Instead, something softened in him, something that looked painfully like understanding. Without hesitation, he slipped off his own coat, warm and well-made, and draped it around her shoulders. The gesture wasn't dramatic or performative. It was instinctive, almost protective. In that moment, Hannah felt something crack open inside her, a place she had sealed shut years ago to survive. No words passed between them, but everything was said. His coat smelled faintly of cedar and laundry soap, and it carried a warmth that went deeper than fabric. For the first time in years, Hannah didn't feel like she had to earn kindness or apologize for needing it. The shame she carried, heavy and constant, loosened its grip. She wondered how many times she had assumed abandonment simply because that was all she had known. Michael, for his part, saw beyond the coat to the quiet resilience beneath it. He noticed the way Hannah always offered help before asking for it, the way she listened more than she spoke, the way her faith had survived disappointment without turning bitter. He understood that love wasn't about rescuing someone from their circumstances, but about standing with them inside those circumstances, choosing them again and again, even when it wasn't easy or pretty. Their relationship didn't suddenly become perfect. Hannah still wrestled with insecurity, with the fear that one mistake would send him walking away. Michael had his own struggles, moments where he didn't know how to bridge the gap between their worlds. But slowly, patiently, they learned to meet in the middle. Hannah allowed herself to be seen, to admit when she was tired or afraid. Michael learned to listen without trying to fix, to love without conditions attached. Months later, when spring finally softened the city, Hannah donated the old coat. Not because she was ashamed of it, but because she no longer needed it as armor. She had found something warmer than fabric, something steadier than fear. Standing beside Michael on a quiet street, she realized that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness rewrite the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we deserve. If you have ever felt unworthy because of what you lacked, if you have ever expected to be left once your imperfections were visible, this story is for you. Hannah's life didn't change because she was saved by someone else. It changed because she was chosen without being asked to change first. And maybe that's the kind of love we all hope to find or become in a world that so often measures value by the wrong things. Before this story ends, take a moment and share in the comments what this moment made you feel, or whether you have ever experienced kindness when you least expected it. If this story truly touched your heart, gently consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, so more stories of hope, kindness, and second chances can reach those who need them most.